Dear Pats Nation, it's just about time. Yeah, we're back. You know it's Dear Pats Nation. Nation. Yeah. It's Dear Pats Nation. Nation. Come on. Yeah, it's Dear Pats Nation. And the show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dear Pats Nation, episode 1 of the postseason, 1 week removed from the Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Toronto's pride and joy, Mr. Ray Rout. The man over there is the Boston's angriest of nerds, Mr. Producer Mike. And if we're not talking football, we're talking curling scandals.
Unbelievable.
Canada, just brutally bad people. I hate those Canadians.
Curlgate, man. What's going on?
What did you call it? Sweepgate? Didn't you call it Sweepgate?
Sweepgate. Do we know where Bill Belichick is?
Well, I'm pretty sure he told them to poke that finger.
Yeah.
And I mean,
can you deflate a curling rock?
A curling stone? I think so. Can't you?
Yeah.
I just, what's really funny? It's like when the Super Bowl rolls around and people who haven't watched football all season become like NFL experts, or when like the World Cup starts, like everybody becomes a soccer expert, but they haven't watched a game in 4 years, but everybody knows the sport. The amount of like curling experts that have come out since this exchange between the Canadians and the Swedes has just been hilarious. And like dudes are like, screenshotting rules, and I had to look up what the hammer meant. Like I put out a post and I was just like, from what I understand, they cheated. I'm like, and it was wrong, and he swore at people, but I have actually no idea what's happening. But there's a lot of curling experts who have never watched a curling match in their life.
All I know is curling is one of the few sports I could compete in and excel. That's what I will tell you.
Mike, can you scoot a little bit over to your left just to center yourself in the side camera a bit? There we go. Now people can see your whole face. It's the old school where we used to get half your face.
There you go.
I have an upper respiratory infection.
Jesus. Weren't we just talking about this the other day?
We were. I don't. That's why I brought it up.
I know.
I don't. Sydney, hello. Hi. Vlog Ethan. Hi. I don't think they're Patriots fans.
Hi, how are you?
We get people who come in through the phone live stream, like they're not us. Okay, Mike. So we're gonna go a little bit old school. Dear Pats Nation, you and I talked about it.
Yep.
I'm back to writing blogs again and doing blog stuff. And I want to read you a few that I wrote this week, and then we can talk about it. That's how we're going to start the discussion points. One of them,
sure.
And the two of them, actually, no, one of them is based on your recommendation. So I looked it up, and that's doing a little bit of a postpartum of the Patriots Super Bowl 60 loss to the Seahawks. So let me just read this for you, and then we'll go from there.
Sure.
The final score said 29-13. The tape said worse. Seattle walked into Super Bowl 60 and treated New England like a team that didn't belong on the same field. This wasn't a heartbreaker. This was a reality check. Let's start with Drake Maye.
Yep.
The stat line will give his supporters something to point at, but the game told the truth. He was sped up, uncomfortable, and clearly reacting instead of commanding. The biggest stage exposed how far he still has to go. Franchise quarterbacks settle games down. May let this one spiral. Fair or not, that is the standard. Now, that spiral didn't happen in a vacuum. The coaching staff got outclassed. There was no early adjustment to Seattle's pressure, no creative counterpunch, and no sense that New England dictated anything.
Mm-hmm.
The offense felt like it was trying to survive rather than attack. And in a Super Bowl, survival mode is coaching malpractice. Of course, it's hard to scheme anything when your offensive line is getting caved in. This wasn't a tough night. It was a collapse. 6 sacks, constant pressure, zero rhythm. The pocket disintegrated almost instantly, and with it went the timing of the entire offense. You can't evaluate a young quarterback honestly if he's operating behind that kind of protection. But you can absolutely evaluate the line, and the evaluation is brutal. Which brings us to Stephon Diggs. When the protection fails, the star receivers become expensive spectators. Diggs ran routes that had no chance to develop and showed visible frustration as the night dragged on. You can talk about chemistry and commitment all you want, but elite receivers need structure to dominate. New England didn't provide it. If the Patriots think they can simply run this back and expect Diggs to stay patient, they're fooling themselves. Defensively, the Patriots deserve credit for keeping the score from turning historic and horrific. But let's not pretend that this was some heroic stand. Seattle played clean, controlled the football, and never truly felt threatened. The defense spent too much night dealing with short fields and bad situations created by the offense. They competed. They didn't tilt the game. Christian Gonzalez, however, looked like the one clear building block. While everything else cracked, he held up in coverage and competed snap after snap. On a night filled with uncomfortable truths, he was one of the few reassuring ones. If there's a cornerstone on this roster, it looks like it's him. The blunt conclusion is this. The Patriots weren't a play away. They were layers away. Quarterback growth, coaching answers, offensive line reinforcement, and a clear plan for their offensive stars are all required. Super Bowl 60 wasn't stolen from them. Mike Sixter, Super Bowl 60 exposed them. You just heard what I wrote about. I hope you have time to read it and digest it. Are you in agreement with some, all, none? Do you have anything to add? What are your overall thoughts on this postmortem of the Super Bowl?
I would say I am basically in full agreement with you. And listen, I'm not going to lie. It was tough. Tougher than I thought, like the day after that Super Bowl, to kind of listen to, some folks who look at film, kind of dissect that game. And it was just a disaster. You used a great word there, layers. It seemed like when Drake Maye was comfortable, the receivers were running bad routes, and basically in between that, the offensive line was just horrific. And actually, somebody who breaks down defensive film as well was saying, really, the Patriots defense did a good job, but they had a multitude of failures as well. Like, was surprised they didn't get burned on multiple things, like a dozen or so times. Basically, we kind of said this about a week ago, when we first watched it back. We kind of saw what was coming, right? The Patriots kept playing crippled team after crippled team, just kind of surviving. And we were saying, oh, they've got to get better at some point, when they really had been punching above their weight class for about 6 weeks, probably.
Yeah, that schedule that we defended on a week-by-week basis kind of really came back to bite the Patriots in the end.
Yeah, it did.
Going back to the defense too, because going into that blog before I kind of started like thinking it over, doing my research, watching the highlights, yada yada yada. Like, to me, the defense was the shining point of the Super Bowl, and it still was in a way.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, we've got something to build around, especially with Christian Gonzalez, and extending him obviously has to be priority number one for New England.
Yep.
And I think I was reading something yesterday or today that the Patriots haven't extended a first-round pick in like 14 years.
No,
which is insanity.
Yeah,
Dante Hightower was the last first-round pick to get extended. So, but if you actually go back and watch the Super Bowl, the Patriots defense actually played a bend but don't break. They actually, and now granted, there was a lot of short fields for Seattle. It's not like the offense put the Patriots in a position to flip the field with a punt the same way Seattle's defense was able to flip, or special teams was able to flip the field. But it just seemed like there was consistent drives for Seattle. And in last week's post-game show after the Super Bowl, you said something along the lines of, and it became one of our shorts this week, it's why it's sticking out of my head. You said something along the lines of, you kept waiting for, like the coaching staff kept waiting for Sam Darnold to see ghosts.
They did. That's how they played.
And they thought he was going to turn the ball over, and it never happened. And it kind of, and I also, what I was really thinking about, that there was no offensive adjustments till the fourth quarter. And at that point, we don't know if there was offensive adjustments or if Seattle started playing a little bit more loose and started protecting the lead a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a I'm glad you remembered that or brought that up, because I listened to myself say that in the middle of the week right after, some of these analysts that are, get paid a lot of money basically said the same thing. The Patriots' whole game plan in the first half was like, basically wait for Sam Darnold to cough the ball up, and when he never did, they had no answers.
I'd like to address a comment here.
Sure.
Look at you, Mikey.
Oh man.
Look at you getting some love.
Took 5 years, 4 years.
And then Sydney says, I like your headset, Mike. Like you're just Sydney. Like you have fans.
I do.
Maybe you're the star of the show now. Maybe I'm no longer the star of the show.
We won't go that far.
My ego can't take not being the star of the show.
No, you'll rebrand this show in a minute just to.
The show would be over. Yeah. This would be the show would be called Dear Pats Nation. No mics allowed, except for Vrabel.
Yeah. If we ever get him as a guest, he's allowed.
So, do you want to touch upon? I think something that I think it's been a discussion this week.
Sure.
It's funny, like being off on Monday, like us doing the post game on Sunday, then having the whole week, just to digest everything, but also watch the fan base and watch the media and everything. First of all, congratulations to the Super Bowl champions, the Buffalo Bills. That was a big one this week. I love the banners. There was a lot of if Buffalo would have beat the team that the Patriots beat to get to the Super Bowl, they would have won the Super Bowl. If that and what. But there was also a lot of Drake Maye conversation.
Yep.
And you and I got into a little bit of a tiff back and forth via text message this week discussing Drake Maye.
A little bit.
Meaning I was speaking in logic and Mike was being a passionate Patriots fan and being like all the other social media stars right now.
Yeah, that's me.
I think some of the criticism that has been given to Drake Maye is unfair. But I think a lot of the defending of Drake Maye has been ridiculous. I'll even use a point from our text messages. Mike and I were going back and forth about something, and Mike went on this big, long rant about everything that went wrong in the Super Bowl and called people out by name. By name, Mike. Player after player after player after player. And my response to him was, the fact that you called players out by name but gave no criticism to Drake Maye was like a proof and point to me of what I think we do wrong. And then you're like, oh, no, I'm not putting the blame. You started backpedaling. I saw what you did. You started backpedaling backwards. It was fine because you thought I was being too hard on Drake. So you felt like you had to be the super defender and rip everybody else on the team, including the defense.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Which was fun.
I jokingly say you hate quarterbacks one week, and this is what I get. I understand.
Okay, no. This was no. Then you dropped that in there, and I was like, "You son of a bitch!" I was like, "You son of a." But you dropped that too late, though. You already had me fired up by the time you put the joke in there, so it was just like a "you son of a bitch" type of thing. But I've watched Patriot fans defend Drake Maye this week. as if the guy played like Tom Brady did and the Eagles lost. Like he wasn't one of the worst Super Bowl quarterbacks we've ever seen. And you can't say he wasn't. Whether it was his fault or not, you can't say he doesn't. I think my blog, wanted to point out, great quarterbacks can kind of put the things back on track. He just let it keep, he let it derail. He never kept the train on the tracks. He let it derail. His fault or not, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then there's the flip side of it, where I think he's been way over criticized for what happened. I think there's people out there that have ignored the fact that the offensive line was horrific. Mm-hmm. And I also think there's a lot of people like the professional curling fans.
Oh boy.
Who think they know more about football than guys like Mike Vrabel. So I want to read this other blog I wrote this week.
Sure.
Which was called Drake Maye Super Bowl Shock, Blip or Red Flag for Patriots. Okay, and it goes like this. Super Bowl 60 was the kind of spotlight that turns every throw into a referendum. For Drake Maye, it became both a warning label and a reminder of why the Patriots believe they've got their franchise quarterback. If you only watched that one game, you might wonder how this was the same guy who spent this season in MVP conversations. Seattle's defense played like it had the answers before the test was handed out. New England lost 29-13. Maye was sacked 6 times, and the mistakes were loud. 2 interceptions, including a pick 6, plus a fumble under pressure. National analysts framed it as the moment that exposed him. And one TV voice called his playoff finish an all-time bad run for an MVP candidate. Online, the memes arrived on schedule, freezing the ugliest snapshots and daring anyone to mention future MVP with a straight face. But that's only half the story. The other half is context. And Patriot fans have been shouting it from every corner of the timeline. The Seahawks won with pressure and disguise, and Maye rarely had a clean pocket he leaned on during the regular season. When protection breaks, a young quarterback's flaws get amplified. Late eyes, drifting feet, hero ball. That isn't an excuse, it's an explanation, and explanations matter if you're trying to predict the next chapter instead of rewatching the last one. Maye's supporters also point to what you couldn't miss all year. He helped drag a team that wasn't supposed to be here all the way to the Super Bowl in his second season, and he did it while being treated like a legitimate MVP contender. Even in the loss, his emotional post-game moment landed with a lot of fans. Dave Portnoy, the president of Barstool Sports, summed up the pro-Maye side in one sentence. He cared as much as they did, and that's a cornerstone trait in New England. So, should Patriot fans worry about moving forward with Drake Maye as the franchise quarterback? It's a little bit yes, and a little bit no. Turnovers is the biggest game. Turnovers in the biggest game or any game aren't a trivia note. Okay, they're a flashing light. The processing against elite pass rush has to be sped up. The offense needs to be built in answers when the first read is covered and the blitz is coming. But panic is also the wrong posture. Quarterbacks grow by getting burned. And Maye now has the rarest kind of lesson, a Super Bowl loss that'll replay in his head all offseason. If he turns it into better protections, faster decisions, and a calmer internal clock, the performance will look like a ceiling and more like a bruise. The Drake Maye argument isn't settled by one night. It's sharpened by it. So clearly, Mike, I went the complete neutral down the pipe with this blog and kind of basically laid it out the way I kind of just said it to you. There's people that are tearing him apart, and then there's people that are not. And I really do believe the truth lands somewhere in the middle. after pissing me off this week in your just steady defense against Drake May, I want to give you the opportunity to give people who are expecting a balanced, nuanced take on what we should expect for Drake May moving forward.
I feel like a news program right now. Release the files. Release the files. I want people to see what I said. Human nature involves recency bias. And for a lot of fans, that's going to be to run to his defense, or to your point, to lambaste him as the figurehead of not the organization, but the football team. Because I do think he is the figurehead of the football team. It's not Mike Vrabel anymore. Drake May is young, right? Drake May is 23 years old, and some of this is on Patriots fans. We did the same thing in Mac Jones' first year when he had success. All of a sudden, you put the quarterback up on a pedestal right next to Tom Brady and expect him to be in year 2 what Tom Brady was in year 10. And that is not fair. That is not fair to him. That is not fair to Mike Vrabel. That is not fair to Josh McDaniels. That is not fair to the rest of the offense. That being said, it is also fair to have criticism when he plays badly, when he turns the ball over. But that criticism shouldn't be along the lines of, this isn't the quarterback to lead our organization at this point, or our team. It should be, to your point, how is this loss going to motivate him to get better and to reduce those mistakes? Because the biggest step, I think, for him and Josh McDaniels next year is, how do we add layers to this to eliminate those things?
So Tyrann Mathieu, is he still with the Chiefs?
No, I think he's with the Saints, I believe. If he didn't retire.
Say he may have retired now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been with New Orleans since 2022. Anyhow, Tyrann Mathieu was on a podcast, and he basically said the New England Patriots need to do what the Chiefs did after they lost to the Bucs in the Super Bowl. And that was basically the next day they signed, wasn't the next day, but they signed Joe Tooney. They gave an instant offensive line. If you remember, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense annihilated that Chiefs offensive line.
Oh, it was the same type of game as this past week, yeah.
That was when, Patrick Mahomes made that famous throwing catch that should have been an interception that somehow has immortalized himself to the Chiefs fan base.
Yeah.
But I think it's important. And Mike, I want to make sure you agree with me. I think it's more than important that the Patriots need to address this offensive line this offseason. Like, they can't not address it. And there's a lot of conversations about defensive players and wide receivers and trade for Brown and all this different stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, man, you can put out every weapon in the world. If he's running for his life, it's going to be the same stuff. And I'm sorry, Pats Nation, we don't have the same schedule as last year.
Yeah. I totally agree, and I'm glad you brought this up, because I did want to make this a talking point, and it will be a talking point for the next couple of weeks going forward into free agency and the draft. And I think, well, you may not know this because we're rebooting this program essentially, but Ray and I are big on forget the weapons on either side of the ball. It's more appropriate and important in this case to work on the trenches. If Drake May continues to get injured, and I'm not saying the injury affected him, but let's just say that continues to happen, then things will get worse. Never mind his clock, never mind his footwork. If he gets injured consistently and it starts losing years of development, forget it. It's all over. It's all done. You end up with Joe Burrow, you end up with Andrew Luck, go on down the list. So no, I totally agree. I'm not sure how they're going to attack that. I don't think, And let's address a point right now. I'm gonna put a stopper and Ray's plan for the show right now. They are not going to move Will Campbell to guard this offseason. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to admit defeat that quickly for Will Campbell being a number 4 overall draft pick. So the discussions should be, what do they do with the rest of the offensive line?
So yeah, and I think Mike Vrabel made that very clear. Like he kind of like mentioned, like that's just not going to happen.
No. But
I want to actually, let's have this conversation, can we?
Sure. Yeah.
Like, how much time do you give Will Campbell? If you're Brian or Elliot Wolf, if you're Elliot Wolf and Mike Vrabel, like if we're at week 7 in the same, and he's getting beat and blown up and his feet aren't working and, you know, everything's happening. Yep. Are you looking for an alternative trade deadline guy? Are you like, how much time? He's a first round pick. Like you said, he's 4th overall.
Yeah.
If this was a quarterback, you're almost going to extend him and give him, you know, chances.
Yeah.
How much time do you give a 4th round or a 4th overall pick offensive lineman who, by the way, is protecting the blind side of Drake Maye?
Right. We're not talking about the right side of the line, you know, things of that nature. Listen, Will Campbell was good. I'll use air quotes good because I think his performance was overblown up until that injury. Now, was it the injury? Was it the, you know, top of the league defenses? Was it a combination of both? Let's just say it was a combination of both.
Can I just interject one stat in there?
Sure.
Outside of the postseason, which was terrible for Will Campbell, his worst game of the season was going up against Matt Crosby. Week 1. He got flattened that whole week. Now, first NFL game, but if you remember, the Raiders have their way with the offensive line.
Yeah, and listen, let's not get lost in the fact of, you know, I just defended Drake Maye in the sense that he's a young player, a second-year player. Will Campbell is a rookie. Bill Belichick had a great soliloquy on this once and explained basically the dynamics of the rookie wall and how you physically and mentally can only do so much because you've essentially been playing football since like the previous, I think like October, and had no time to rest. So I would like to see Will Campbell with some time to heal, time to rest, time to learn, and time to, you know, get in the gym. I think it's a combination of those things. To your point, to your original, you know, question, how long do you give him? Listen, if he's getting blown up by week 7 next year, I don't know what you do, because I think even re-signing Vidarian Lowe may not be an issue, or maybe an issue, because backup left tackles now are making like $10 million in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Patriots do in free agency and the draft as far as just a backup swing tackle potentially.
So I know they're not going to move him to guard. And as a former left guard myself, I don't think he has the footwork to be a guard, to be honest with you. I've told you on many occasions that I believe guard positions is the most athletic position on the line.
Yep.
And you got to be able to do a lot of different things. And I don't think he has the footwork to do it. So I want to leave it right there. He also doesn't have the wingspan to do it. Now, as a tackle, I'm less concerned about the T-Rex arms. Like, I'm less concerned about it.
That's surprising.
Yeah. The T-Rex arms don't really bother me anywhere, but to me, the guard position is more important than the tackle position. They're all important in tandem as they work in tandem. But the tackle position, you're always going to get beat on the outside. With the guard position, you can get beat on the outside or the inside. So there's different ways that they can attack you and that they can attack your quarterback. With the tackle, you know, you're pretty much just you're going up against an edge defender. I always tell the story of my first year of high school ball playing, and my first 4 games we played a 4-man offensive front. So it's super simple. I had an inside tackle lined up right over me, and I got up and I went and, you know, did my thing. Week 5, We get on a bus. We go to Milton District, get off the bus, warmed up. I'm jacked up. I line up, and I'm going against a 3-man front. And there's a defender, an edge defender, lined up over each tackle, and one lined up over the center. And I'm down there, and I have no idea who I'm supposed to block. Right? Like, I have nobody taught me this. And we ran a 4-man front, so in practice, I was going up against a 4-man defensive front where I had a tackle always lined up right over me. So, like, I always knew who my assignment was. And that was the first time, and I realized on a blitz or on a run play, especially in high school ball in a junior year, in a sophomore year, you're running the football a lot. My guy is the linebacker. And suddenly I had to learn how to block a linebacker. Most offensive tackles will never block a linebacker. They're going to lock a guy. It's a different type of athleticism, different type of arm span, different type of angle that's coming at you. Now, on top of that, sometimes I have to block a safety. Sometimes I have to, again, tackles aren't usually going to make those tackles. So, not that the position's more important, but I think you need to be athletic. You need to be versatile. I have a long arm, like wingspan, and you have to be able sometimes to make a reach that because you might be up helping double team and suddenly realize you got a linebacker coming inside. You're not going to get over in time. You need to be able to wrap with an arm without holding. You need to be able to get an arm on him though as you're getting your body into position, right? At the very least, let him bump into your arm and slow him down a tinge to hope that the running back can somehow either bounce away or if it's a pass play, pick him up on the protection. So it's a little bit of a different position. I don't look and see Will Campbell as a traditional guard. I really don't. I know he's a little smaller, and I think that's why people are associating with the guard position. But his arms
are smaller. He's 6'6", I think, right?
But he's light. He's light though.
Well, that is a problem. Yeah.
So I think that people see his body type. I don't mean his height. I mean his
right.
Look, people talk about his wingspan. I want you to know that 6'6" guy's wingspan is probably double the guys who are making fun of his wingspan. But when it comes to NFL, he doesn't have a big wingspan. I mean, look, I'm a 6'1", 300-pound guy. I was 6 foot. 260 while I was playing football. I would be like a shrimp little, like, you know what I mean? It'd be like you and I playing football, right? That's what it would look like if I showed up to an NFL field. I just don't see him as a traditional guard. I don't. And I think but here's another thing I want to bring up though.
Sure.
And so I went on that long thing for people just to understand why I don't see him as a guard. I just don't see him. The way he was getting beat up by the athletic edge defenders, I just don't see him consistently taking on linebackers and safeties. I just don't. I just think I don't think he has the footwork for it. I don't think he has the arm span to do it. And I think he's a little light to be inside. Now he might get bigger, right? Like we know that. Yeah. I think he's fine. He can be a tackle. Yeah. However, at one point in New England Patriots history, we thought Mike Onwenu was going to be the Patriots' next left tackle.
Yeah.
And I could see if he starts struggling early in the season next year, I could see a shift to right. I really could. And shift him over because I actually believe they're going to do something with Onwenu in the offseason. I think he's going to be a part of a trade package somewhere.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think you hit the nail on the head for me, just in a different area. I think the biggest thing for Will Campbell, and like, listen, I heard people like roast this take, like all he just getting into the gym isn't going to fix his issues. Well, that's not what I'm going to say. I'm going to say he definitely needs to get into the gym to add some weight to his lower body, because that was half of his issue in the Super Bowl, was bigger guys just going like, listen, move out of my way. Like, just move out of my way because your anchor sucks. Like, he couldn't anchor at all. He just kept getting pushed.
I want him pushing the sled, and you know what the sled is, right?
Right. Yep, blocking sled. Yeah.
For those of them who don't know, the sled is it's a machine that has pads on it that mimics offensive linemen. You put weights on it. Typically, a coach will stand on it with the weights, and you push the sled and you drive it with your legs.
Yeah.
I want him the whole offseason pushing the sled, flipping tires, like big tires coming down, flipping tires. That's all leg muscles.
Yeah.
And then doing traditional weightlifting.
Yeah.
I think, I can't remember who it was, but there's an offensive lineman out there who's on a podcast who said he's going to go to Los Angeles and work with Will Campbell this offseason. And he talked about it. His footwork was horrific this year.
It was Armstead.
Yeah, his footwork was absolutely horrific. Not only was he getting beat with his lower legs because they weren't strong enough, the footwork was just brutal. So he's got to improve his footwork. And he had good feet in college. I think I talked about that.
He had good feet midway through the year. I remember you complimenting his feet.
But I wonder how much of that was the schedule. Because when you're going up against inferior players, you can, you know what I mean? You can look better. Like it's like he knows the fundamentals, but he doesn't know what to do when he's got a top tier rusher on him. It's like he almost, that connection from his head to his feet to his arms. And he literally tried to, I'm surprised he didn't get held on called on a hold every play, to be honest with you, because everything was a grab with the arms. He held. If you watch Drake May's or Will Campbell's entire postseason, he held the whole postseason. Like he really did. He held
had
the
no
whole
choice.
postseason.
Yeah, he had no choice.
Yeah, and still was getting bull rushed and pancaked. Right. So like, definitely got to work on those legs. It needs to get stronger. And let's stop the talk of the inside. I hate how people. And to me, this is the uneducated people speaking. There's no offense to anybody. And maybe this is just me being defensive as a lineman and being an interior guy, right? But I don't know why everybody thinks it's so easy to be a guard. Like if somebody is struggling at tackle, well, just move him inside and things will get better.
Sorry, I had an emergency I was responding to via text.
Things okay?
Yeah. Everything's good.
Do you need to go?
No, nothing I can control. I just told somebody to keep me in the loop about what was going on.
No. But you heard what I said or no?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
So yeah, I don't understand why people believe it just punch a guy inside and things will get better. Like
yeah. Another great
honestly, it's he's a bad, cornerback. We'll just make him a receiver and things will get better.
Yeah,
like it could work.
Safety.
Like it could work, but it's a different position altogether. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I heard Dante Scarnecchia talk about this week, and listen, he went into full blown coach mode. And if you've ever listened to Dante Scarnecchia, he got pretty profane, And I'm sure he still is around the Patriots organization. I don't know how much coaching he's actually doing, but he got kind of defensive and was like, people need to effing calm down. He's fine. He's going to be fine. These Fs don't know what they're talking about. He's going to be just fine at tackle. He needs time to settle down and get into a program. And, again, I don't know if he's actually worked with them or plans to, but it sounded like, listen, if there's anybody that I hold up to the same level as Bill Belichick coaching wise, just in their own,
he's the Josh McDaniels of offensive lines.
Yeah. I was gonna say he is number one. If he tells me something, if he tells me Will Campbell can be a tackle and not to worry about it, I'm not gonna worry about it.
I think without ever playing in the NFL. Right. So I want to put that on the table without ever playing in the NFL and just coming at it from somebody who played at high enough levels. The advice that I give to Will Campbell, trust the system.
Yep.
Trust your coaching, trust the process, and let it happen. And he got down on himself a lot. You could see him. Wasn't it after the AFC Championship game when Mike Vrabel had to grab him and tell him to smile? He just came off the field dejected. And, Vrabel's trying to get him up and just smile, buddy. We're going to the Super Bowl. And
yeah, I think that happened a lot with him and Drake Maye. And I think that did affect them in the Super Bowl and in the playoffs.
Well, that famous Josh McDaniels thing, right? It's hard. Yeah. Of course it's hard.
Yeah.
It's football, know? But I think for Will Campbell, it's just trust the process, trust the system. You're in good hands, and you just do what you need to do. Don't spend your offseason eating hamburgers.
Right.
Like, get in the gym, work with the Patriots have one of the best nutritionists in the game. Work with him, get your protein into you, get your carbs, get heavier. And bottom heavy weightlifting will fix a lot.
Yeah, and I mean it'll segue into another thing, but this is kind of an it kind of lurks below the surface type of topic. Having him and Jared Wilson next to each other as rookies, you saw it work for about 80% of the season. When did it not work? When you faced the stiffest of competition. So that's going to be another thing is, do you move Wilson into center and get him somebody more experienced next to him? Could that help him too? Because you don't just have two guys that are kind of like, we're here now, like, what do we do? And they're both kind of lost. You know what I mean?
And a guard transition to center is a much easier transition to me than a tackle transitioning to guard.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Last article or blog I want to read you.
Yep.
And we're here. Let's talk a little bit about one realistic free agent that the Patriots could go after that a lot of people are talking about. Sure. And one move that fans want. Something I'm reading a lot of what fans are talking about. So let's look at both. Okay.
Yep.
So the New England Patriots head into the 2026 NFL offseason in a very different spot. This isn't a rebuild, it's a reload. After a Super Bowl run and breakout year from Drake Maye, the conversation has shifted from fixing everything to finishing the job. If you look at expert analysis from outlets like NBC Sports Boston and Bleacher Report, one priority stands out: protect the franchise quarterback. Drake Maye was sacked 47 times last season. That simply can't continue if the Patriots want to stay in the AFC title picture. That's why offensive tackle Brandon Smith keeps coming up as a realistic free agent target. He's not the splashiest name on the market, but he's exactly the kind of move winning teams make. Smith would bring stability and veteran experience to the right side of the offensive line, immediately improving passing protection and helping the run game. With the projected cap space available, this is a practical signing that makes football sense. And sure, adding another weapon for Maye or boosting the pass rush would excite fans, but keeping your quarterback upright is step one. It's not sexy, but it wins in January. And now let's talk about what the fans want. In a Patriots mailbag across social media, two big names kept popping up: wide receiver T. Higgins and defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons. Higgins would give Maye a true number one target. Simmons would add a dominant presence in the trenches. And the thinking is simple: the team is close, add one star and a push for another Super Bowl. And there's always a balance between splash and substance. Signing Brandon Smith might not light up highlight reels, but it could be the move to keep the Patriots in championship contention. And if the front office pairs that with an impact addition, whether through trade or additional key signings, expectations in Foxborough will skyrocket. The Patriots don't need a makeover. They need smart upgrades. And this offseason could define the next chapter of the Drake Maye era. Mike, what are your thoughts on Brandon Smith?
I think you pronounced it wrong. I think it's Braden Smith.
Oh, sorry, Braden Smith. You let me go through the whole thing saying Brandon Smith when I meant to say Braden Smith?
You said it twice. I was, if you kept saying it, I would have interrupted. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think any offensive line addition right now would be great. Personally, I think Joe Thuney's up. I don't know if the Bears extended him, but I would like to see Joe Thuney next to Will Campbell.
I assume that winning the guard or the whatever they call him, the protector of the year, that it's going to be he became the highest paid offensive lineman when he went to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Granted, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and I think that's something like Tyrann Mathieu was trying to say, spend the money there.
Listen, we can get into all the restructuring and I think they should get rid of another day, but if money's not an issue right now, Like, go get me somebody who's familiar with Josh McDaniels' offense. I don't care how he's going to make your left tackle look better. He's going to make your hypothetical center look better. He's going to make Drake May look better. The trickle down for me, would be worth the money. But I think Braden Smith would go a long way to doing that too. I mean, the guy is what, like 6'6". He's a huge tackle. So
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Keep Stephon Diggs on the book, assuming he can play next year.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all their offensive guys who mattered this year are still on the books going into this season.
Yep.
Open up the wallet and spend the bag on Joe Thuney and Smith.
Where do you put Smith at that point?
The right side.
Instead of Onwenu? Or
yeah.
Instead of...
I get rid of Onwenu.
That's fair. Okay.
Because I like Moses.
Morgan Moses.
Yeah, I like Morgan Moses. He didn't have a great Super Bowl, but I like Morgan Moses. And I think it was Morgan Moses when he was when Mike Vrabel was meeting everybody after the Super Bowl. He was the one who looked at, I don't know if you saw that video of Vrabel greeting all the players.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain it was Moses that looked at Vrabel and said, we're not done. We're not done. Like, this is like, we're not finished yet. Like, basically, like, let's get to work. And I liked that attitude. I think the Mike Onwenu time in New England could and should come to an end. I think a fresh start for him would be good for him. And I think if you put Braden Smith as you're on the right side and you brought Joe Thuney in at left guard with Campbell and Moses, and then do whatever you want at center, that could be a good offensive line.
Yeah, it could. I mean, realistically, are they going to spend on 2 offensive linemen? No, but we're talking in like what would probably be best for the team hypotheticals. Like, I think that would be perfect. So here's the thing. I agree with you. I think I texted you like a month ago and said I would walk away from Onwenu at this point. The problem is he looks like your second best offensive lineman on an offensive line that needs a complete rebuild. So what do you do there?
But if you bring in Joe Thuney and Braden Smith, then you don't need him.
Right. And then
now the only thing I could throw out there is Onwenu can play guard.
Right.
Which means having him as a backup is not but I don't know if Onwenu is going to accept being a backup role.
No, and he makes too much money. I think he's on the books for like $26 million a year this year, and that was one of the things. Like, when they gave him that contract, it was just weird, for lack of better words.
It's because Bill liked him.
Yeah, I mean, no, they paid him the year after Bill got.
Was it the year after? I thought they paid him with Bill.
No.
Or was that they had nobody to build around at that time?
They had no one to build around. Their offensive line was complete dog crap, and he was the best offensive lineman they had. So
signing the worst of the worst is never usually the best way to go about things.
No, and you and I kind of texted about this. We were joking about it before, but I think I used the words to you. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of take a hatchet to this offense and go like, it was good. It wasn't good enough. And you've got older players like Diggs and Henry and Hooper that just kind of, the quarterback didn't do them any favors. But
did you let Hooper walk?
If he doesn't want to come back on the same kind of like no money deal, like, I'm not afraid to let him walk. I'd be willing to listen to offers for Hunter Henry at this point.
Okay, let me put another name on the table because I think we have to for the clickbait status. Sure. Big wide receiver got released in Miami today.
Oh boy, I knew it was coming.
We did put a video out on the YouTube page saying, should the Patriots sign Tyreek Hill, like a bloggy video, which yes, people, it was an AI voice. I don't have time to do voiceovers every single minute of the day, but the script was mine. I wrote it. I just wanted to present it. The script was mine. AI read it for me. Just shut up. Do the Patriots not at least take a look?
You have
at least a glance. Maybe not a long look, but at least there are some culture issues there. We heard some culture issues with Stephon Diggs. There are some moral issues that follow Tyreek Hill around as well.
Yep.
that Patriot fans have a problem with and have showed to have a problem with over the years.
But
however,
if the Patriots sign him,
however, if he becomes a Patriot, nobody will care, and they'll find this defense the same way Kansas City Chiefs fans defended him and the great kicker they had there, Kareem Hunt, best kicker in the NFL.
Oh boy, he's back there, by the way.
I know he is. I know, not the same guy.
No,
not the same guy. No. I also think Kareem Hunt was a byproduct of Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. To be honest with you, I think teams were so scared of those two guys, and then when they brought in, was it Hardman that they brought in? When they had Hardman, Hill, and Kelce, they were so scared of those three guys that it opened up a lot of running room for Kareem Hunt.
It did, and let me tell you, the reason they probably didn't win a Super Bowl early was because they let him go. But holy crap, like the Patriots, I like vividly remember them playing that trio or that quadrio, whatever you want to call it, like in the beginning, and just watching it was terrifying.
Oh yeah, I mean, you needed a Bill Belichick to come up with just a masterful game plan to stop that offense. Basically Devin McCourty on top, and like I think it was Malcolm Butler trailing him that whole game. Like there was just a lot that went into that AFC Championship game. I'm trying to remember the one-on-one matchup wasn't Kyle Arrington. He was gone by that time. It could have been Jones, to be honest with you. They could have had.
It was Jonathan Jones.
They had Jonathan Jones, who I love Jonathan Jones. I think he's one of the most underrated corners that team ever had. But they had Jonathan Jones, and everything was basically the whole game plan was nothing underneath, and you had Devin McCourty just floating over top. And they basically, outside of an egregious pick play, kept Tyreek Hill out of that game.
Yeah, and Jonathan Jones was one of the few, because he was the same size, right?
And he had speed. He had the speed.
Yeah, he was one of the few like DBs that you could put on Tyreek Hill and call it like a 50-50. When Jonathan
Jones, not deep though. You had to have McCourty on top.
No,
like he couldn't
McCourty over the top. Yeah,
the cheetah was just too fast. So, anyways, going back to it, I think you got to take now. Could you imagine a team with Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs, and Tyreek Hill, and then you got like Pop Douglas as your number 4?
Yeah, it would be interesting, right? Because Tyreek Hill would kind of take Boutte's role as like the true X to spread the field. So it's kind of interesting what would happen there, because you would essentially move like Diggs would still be the slot, and you would move Boutte to the Z. That'd be pretty interesting. If he looks good, man, I'd still give it a look.
If you wanted to spread 4 out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk 20-yard line, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, just let's talk red zone 20-yard line. And you've got Hill and Diggs both lined up wide.
Yep.
Right?
Well,
and then you
Kyle Williams, but yeah.
Sorry, Kyle Williams. Then you have Mac Hollins for your 50-50 ball in the red zone, and Boutte, who can be a 50-50 guy. Like, dude, that's and then you go empty backfield and have Hunter Henry or insert tight end.
And I didn't mean to put like Diggs on the back burner there, but this is something that's kind of getting left out with Diggs in the laundry is
that he's in court right now.
Yeah.
That he broke up with Cardi B.
That's not getting left out. That's the only thing people are talking about. Him and his baby mamas. You couldn't have Tyreek Hill on you couldn't have him and Tyreek Hill on the same team.
I was thinking, is that too much ego? Is there too much ego there?
There's too many baby mamas. That's for sure.
All they need now is DeAndre Hopkins. And you just...
I would just like to see Steph Diggs with like a full offseason where he's not like rehabbing too. Like that kind of gets lost a little bit, doesn't it?
I would prefer to have Diggs back over Tyreek Hill, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that either the old guy who's better, whatever. I would rather the guy I know who had 1,000 yards this year and a guy who knows the system. Now, he'll be another year older. We know he's not the Stephon Diggs that dragged Josh Allen around, when he needed it. But yeah, I think I would rather Stephon Diggs. Okay, one more name I want to throw at you via trade. Sure. It's all over there. I have heard from many different people that he wants to play for their favorite team, that he's throwing subliminal messages out there. A guy I'm half in love with.
Yeah.
It is one of those I would give up my left nuts kind of guy for, and that's Max Crosby. As a guy who loves defense, I'd pay him what he wants. I would give the Raiders whatever they want. I think you could get away. So here's what I've kind of been teasing throughout the whole night.
Right.
So I think you give away a 3rd round pick this year.
Okay.
A 3rd round pick next year.
Okay.
And Mike Onwenu.
I think it would take a lot more to get.
I don't. No, not. It's just not when a guy wants out. They've lost leverage. They're not getting a 1st round pick. If anybody gives them a 1st round pick, they're idiotic.
Well, so the thing with Max Crosby is they literally just paid him. Like they gave him a new deal. So Vegas is going to eat a lot of money.
I don't think they will. I think if the Patriots said we'll take the money, like we'll take all the money because they have the salary cap to do it. They have the cap to do it, and we'll give you 2/3 and then get Onwenu's money off the books. Mike.
Okay, so let's not argue about the trade semantics right now, just because I can get in the weeds.
Okay, this isn't Julio Jones. This is Max Crosby.
I would give up the 31st pick for Max Crosby all day long. If you want
not 2/3.
I'm trying to make the point that I would.
So you're saying you give up the 1st? Yeah, fair.
Because you're not going to get a pass rusher. I don't get everybody. Oh, this draft is really deep in pass rushers.
Not in the 31st pick.
Get your own. Okay. Listen, I'm not going to talk about the money. I'm not going to talk about the draft compensation other than you tell me you want to give up number 31. I would give up number 31 to get Max Crosby here. I would figure out the money internally, even if you say we got to push it around because we still have Harold Landry on the books and blah, 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 blah. Okay. We don't care about that. I want somebody who can get to the quarterback with those 2 interior defensive linemen and destroy them.
Yes.
Max Crosby would have unreal sack numbers. Christian Barmore would have unreal sack numbers. Milton Williams would have unreal sack numbers because you'd have 4 people on that offensive line that are a threat to get to the quarterback on any snap.
Drake Maye is going into his 3rd season in the NFL. Let's go back to a couple years ago, Mike.
Yep.
And we were the old version of Dear Pats Nation. And we were talking about Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And what did I say the Chiefs did better than Buffalo? They put the players on the team to win a Super Bowl before Patrick Mahomes cost them the house.
Yes.
Drake, we've got 2 years left, plus a 5th-year option that already increases the money.
Right.
But you've got 2 years left with Drake Maye on his legitimate rookie deal. And I'm sorry, he doesn't play like Tom Brady, and he's not going to take a hometown discount like Tom Brady.
The latter. I don't worry about the first one because we can get into the semantics of that for 100 years. Okay. Just in fact, maybe we talk about this in the future. It's more of a matter of if Kraft is willing to spend the money, not can they make it work. That, in fact, that will be a good segue for as we talk about this draft stuff. Is Robert Kraft going to be willing to do what every other owner in the NFL who wants to win now does? We're going to restructure $100 million this year. We're going to move things around and we're going to make it work. That's the real question.
I think if what you did to poor Gerard Mayo to bring in Mike Vrabel, and you know what I mean? Like, I think if you did all of that to show that you are all in on this team, you didn't even give Gerard Mayo a second season with a decent team in front of him. You fired him and you ate all that money. What's he eating? Like $30 million or something of like some ridiculous.
Oh, it's probably like $100 million.
Yeah, he's eating all this money.
Staff. Yeah.
And you did that. And let's not forget, firing that whole coaching staff. You got rid of Mayo, Patriots legend. You got rid of Dante Hightower, Patriots legend. You know, like you burnt. So you got rid of the wide receiver coach. You got rid of Matthew Slater and Ty Law.
Yep.
Like, you got rid of some Patriots legends to bring in Mike Vrabel. You got rid of the greatest coach to ever coach this game to make it a different team. You put $1 billion into a tower, so people could ring the bell before the game. And I think that my personal opinion is he is going to be willing to do it.
Yeah, and like I said, this will be a great topic as we segue into some of this fun draft free agency stuff. But like, listen, if you want to talk about something outside of the offense that'll neutralize the talk of how difficult the schedule is next year, and the schedule is difficult, you add Max Crosby to that defensive line, all of a sudden we're not talking about a hard schedule, because that Patriots defense should be able to get to any quarterback on any snap.
Max Crosby, Sidney Crosby, cheating and curling, it all doesn't matter. All that matters is Mike, tell me about those Patriots.
They're gonna be legit, kid.
Dear Pats Nation, it's just about time. Yeah, we're back. You know it's Dear Pats Nation. Nation. Yeah. It's Dear Pats Nation. Nation. Come on. Yeah, it's Dear Pats Nation. And the show starts in 3, 2, 1.